Belfast is the largest city and the capital of Northern Ireland. Whether you visit for a day or a month, there's lots to see and do. This is our list of 10 things to do in Belfast.
The first place on our list is Cathedral Quarter. Named for the nearby St. Anne's Cathedral, this historic part of Belfast has award-winning restaurants, gorgeous traditional pubs, and we've heard some pretty great nightlife as well. Definitely check out Commercial Court, as it is impossible to look up pictures of Belfast and not have this place pop up in your search. This cobbled alleyway is also home to one of the most famous pubs in all of Belfast, the Duke of York. Since the weather was so nice, we opted to enjoy our pints outside.
On top of the countless amazing pubs and restaurants you'll find in Cathedral Quarter are a few other landmarks worth checking out. You'll likely walk right past them as you head from place to place.
One of those places is Albert Memorial Clock. Situated in Queen's Square, this clock was completed in 1869 in memory of Prince Albert, the consort of Queen Victoria. It might even be the most recognizable landmark in Belfast, and due to the marshy nature of the crown, the top of it actually leans about 4 feet to the side. Restoration efforts have worked to stabilize it as much as possible, but Belfast continues to have its very own leaning tower. There's also Belfast City Hall at the southern end of Cathedral Quarter. This is another iconic spot worth a picture, but since this is 10 things to do in Belfast and not 20, let's move on.
After visiting the Duke of York and Commercial Court, we continued on to the second place on our list. A very short walk later, we stopped for a bite to eat at Common Market, which is an indoor street food market and bar. This is a great place for some amazing food without the tourist price tag.
Number 3 on our list also isn't far, so we continued on to Victoria Square. This is the shopping center in the heart of Belfast, and it has over 70 stores and restaurants, as well as a theater and something else at the very top that also makes it a little bit unique.
Now we're in Victoria Square, we're in the mall, there are all sorts of shops and restaurants, but the thing that we're here for is this dome above me. There is actually a viewing gallery 1 level up, so you can take the elevator or these stairs all the way up, and then you can see Belfast from above. Apparently there is a guide up there who will point things out to you, but guess what? It's closed. It's supposed to be open. It's closed at the moment. That security guard that just walked by told us, and so I don't know if there's something going on up there, some special event, some issue, I don't know. But we're hoping that we still get to see it at some point. For now, there's a kids play area in the mall, so we're gonna take our little ones there, and then we'll reconvene 1 level up, I hope. We actually did return on a different day to try the viewing platform again, but unfortunately the lift was out and they weren't allowing people up there on that day either. Hopefully you'll have better luck than we did. St. George's Market used to be an open-air market until about 1890. Nowadays, it's the last covered Victorian market in Belfast and hosts a huge market every weekend. They've got everything from fish and produce to all sorts of prepared foods, crafts, and it's also just a great weekend hangout spot.
Of course, it was pouring rain outside right when we were ready to leave, so we had to stay a little bit longer and get an early lunch.
I tried to get a Belfast fan, but of course they ran out like 2 people in front of me. So this is a filled soda instead with all the same yummy stuff. There's sausages, there's egg, and there's bacon.
And we followed that up with a strawberry cream meringue for dessert.
Number 5 on our list is the Ulster Museum. This museum is completely free to visit and is Northern Ireland's natural science, history, and art museum. There's also an extensive exhibit on the Troubles from 1969 all the way up to present day. Of course, we didn't include everything here, and some of the exhibits change over time. It's all really well done and well worth a visit.
Our number 6 is the Botanic Gardens. It's actually a giant park and the Ulster Museum is located inside of it. But as the name implies, it also has a beautiful botanic garden, a tropical garden, temperate garden, rose garden, and a Ferris wheel, which is also well worth a visit. This particular one even has a wheel in the middle of it that allows you to rotate your whole pod, and the views from the top were even better than we were expecting.
Another great park worth a visit is Ormeau Park. This one was actually really close to where we stayed for a month, and they have playgrounds on both the south end and the north end, as well as beautiful walking trails with tall trees and a cute little coffee stand in the middle of the park.
Number 8 on our list is Belfast Castle. It's another site that is free to park and free to get in, and if you don't have a car, there are also buses that can get you there. There are records of a medieval Belfast castle dating back to the early 1200s, but it was destroyed and rebuilt several times over the centuries, and the current Victorian structure was built in the late 1860s, and you're free to look around most of it.
It's kind of neat that you're just allowed to wander through the castle. You're kind of left to your own devices here. There are different rooms that do say private, so you know where you're not supposed to go. But if you grab one of these brochures as you come in, it tells you the different rooms and gives you a little information on them as you go, and they're all labeled. You can tell that a lot of these rooms are used for different things, conferences or meetings. For example, this one obviously has some chairs. Maybe someone was presenting there. Someone left their lunch. But the one downstairs that we saw, I think, is probably the most grand room, and they have weddings and things like that here, so I imagine they might have receptions down in that room, dinners. But I really love the views from all the windows. That is probably the best thing about coming into all these rooms. They're decorated beautifully, but then the views that you get, so cool. Can't wait to go outside and see the garden. When you've finished inside the castle, the grounds are definitely worth exploring. There's a theme of hidden cats, and you're encouraged to try and find all the cat sculptures hidden throughout. Next, you can head down to the lower level to the cafe for coffees, cakes, and sandwiches, and enjoy your treats with a beautiful view.
We rounded off our day at Belfast Castle by walking down to the attached park and playground, but otherwise you could easily spend just half a day here and then head back into the city for more.
Which leads us to our number 9, Titanic Belfast. Built next to the slipway where the Titanic was built and launched from, this museum was opened in 2012 and is now the number 1 most visited attraction in Belfast. It cost us about $25.50 for one adult ticket. The exhibits start with Belfast as an industrial hub and the construction of the Titanic, including some huge steel scaffolding to at least give a little perspective on the size of everything involved. Next is the Titanic's launch and what it was like inside. Then they go really in depth on the unfortunate series of events that led to its sinking. And end with the Titanic's resting place, 12,000 feet below the surface of the Atlantic. Definitely set aside a couple hours to go through it all, and if you have time, there's more to see outside. Once you're done in the museum, you can come out here and enjoy looking at the slipways and walking down to the light. Among other things, there's the HMS Caroline over here that you can take a tour of. And before I leave, I will be taking a tour of the SS Nomadic, which is included in the ticket price.
Now for the final item on our list, something special at the Fitzwilliam Hotel.
And the event we're here for is afternoon tea. But not just any afternoon tea. We're here for half fancy, normal afternoon tea and half specialty crafternoon tea. Crafternoon tea is exactly what you would expect with that kind of name. It is craft beer and associated yummy, delicious snacks. Now we're gonna head up the elevator to the restaurant.
The adults' crafternoon tea was more on the savory side. For the kids, we ordered traditional afternoon teas, which was right up their alley with bite-sized sandwiches, scones, and dessert. And altogether, we paid just under $200.
They even brought out a birthday treat since our littlest had just celebrated her first birthday. We finished things off with a coffee, and of course, our dessert. The nice thing about doing the combination, so 2 of us crafternoon tea and 2 regular, is that we can all share everything, so everybody gets to try a little each. And also the extra added benefit of being with kids is their stomachs are smaller. So when they're too full, we get to keep eating their things. This was probably the best meal we had during our whole stay in Belfast, and we'd highly recommend it as it is quite the experience.
That rounds out our list of things to do in Belfast, but if you're looking for more to do nearby, go check out Carrickfergus Castle. It isn't far and it was our very first stop on our way to the Giant's Causeway.